Good morning, my name's Nuala Davis. I'm a learning technologist here by day and an online learner by night. I'm here to talk about how to make Massif engaging, and my talk's going to be split around themes relating to content and design, conversations and connections, and feedback and rewards. So what do we mean by engagement? Is it staying the course? Is it meeting my own learning goals? Or is it actively contributing to discussion? Like others, my MOOC activity varies between sampling, lurking and observing, and active participation, which goes to show that, like people, I can behave in a fickle and unpredictable manner. From my point of view, an essential starting point is to map out who are the learners, what are they bringing, what are their goals, what are their expectations, and to use that to inform the design and the activities of the course. And of particular importance will be their digital literacies, the tools and techniques they're already familiar with, as well as their online learning literacies, their experience of being an online learner, of taking their own notes, and also letting other people into their learning, in a sense, by putting themselves out there. We need to remember that in connectivist MOOCs that the skills required to get the most out of learning are advanced, and that for many learners simpler platform-based approaches are going to provide an easier starting point. So what are things which will help all students? First of all, clarity and consistency, just ease of navigation, getting around the site. But I also think it's important to actively build in orientation to show people how to get around, what they can do in terms of following people, what they need to bookmark, what they'll need to come back to. It's very much up to the course leaders, the educators, to set the tone, to put out the welcome mat, to be personable, to share enthusiasm, and to give people permission to share and bring their own ideas. Course content needs to be accessible to all on different devices. It needs to be engaging, it needs to be relevant to the topic and varied, and to give those running the course an opportunity to impart their enthusiasms for the topic material, and in so doing to engage and enthuse the learners. By offering a degree of choice about activities that learners can complete, we put control back in their hands. They can choose to do things that most closely meet their own learning objectives and so stay engaged. Life happens, circumstances change, and it's easy to get behind. So how do we make re-entry possible? A few ideas would be to say things like, if you can only do one thing this week, do this. To offer recaps and catch-up points at the beginning of each next week, and to theme the course so that you could perhaps jump back in again once things have settled down in your own life. For me, content provides the interest, but it is the interaction that provides the zest in online learning. Now, there will also be others for whom actively consuming other people's conversations may be just as valid a way of learning. How do we spot both perspectives? I've been delighted with some of the creative efforts of my peers on courses I've engaged with. And creativity and the opportunities to make something, to share and receive comments on, has been an amazingly useful learning experience without the pressure of being erudite or articulate in text. We know from standard online learning that group discussions can provide really valid ways of helping people to articulate what they've learned, to consider different perspectives, to debate those, and to synthesize knowledge, providing rich opportunities to engage more deeply with the subject material. But posing a discussion point to a group of 20 is very different to posing one to a group of several thousands. If you arrive on day 2 of such a discussion, it's likely that all viewpoints will have been expressed 50 times over, resulting in several hundred postings. A stream rather than a discussion. Groups will help, but these need to be formed carefully, thinking about the time zones that people operate in, the size of the groups so that there'll be enough active participants, and perhaps even the learning goals and backgrounds of the people involved. These groups won't have an assigned e-moderator or guide. So it's up to the learners to organise and direct themselves. And the refreshing thing here that I've seen and experienced and has been documented is the way that those who are e-learning veterans can step up to the mark and have a valuable role in this setting. Feedback's another really useful thing. Automated testing can help me see what I've learned as a learner and point me back at things which I perhaps need to revisit, as can comments from my peers. I'm less convinced, however, about peer review and peer assessment, but these are perhaps things to keep a watching eye on. In terms of recognition, I think we've got a lot to learn from successful social and community sites where community involvement is recognised, whether it be in Stack Overflow or in terms of your popularity, in your followedness as a blogger. And finally, carrots in the form of certificates of completion will motivate some, but really only if those have currency. One of these allows me to hire a yacht, the other is not even something that's made it to my CV. So these need to be thought about quite carefully. Finally, listening and learning. This is an exciting emergent space, and my belief is that massive open education is here to stay. There's lots we can learn by listening to others and also listening, importantly, to our learners to make things better just for our next courses and for our on-campus experiences.